Yeah. You, a couple of things you said gave me some chills here. So the first thing is that, when you did you feel like as you kept telling your story, because I know that I know you've been telling your story. Do you feel that every time you tell your story, you almost feel like a little bit even more empowered and maybe some strength within you as you keep on telling your story?
So there's a couple reasons, and that's a good question. Sometimes I feel really scarred from it because I have scars that remind me, but I turn that around that those are my badge of honors.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like, gosh, I just want to get back to Maya. I want to
Mm.
get back to who I was, but I'm not her. I'm not her anymore. I didn't choose this to happen to me, but it happened for me. Mentally, I am preparing myself to lift others up and to be that rock for them. It's not about Maya anymore. I'm just the vessel. And I do sometimes think it's surreal that because you uncover it and you think, did this really happen to me? I mean, on my 1 year, March 14th, I was resonated and I told one of my friends who did a story, a 1 year story, and I said, I can't believe this happened to me. And and I look back on the journey. I look back on photos because we've documented my story, and I'm actually going to be on a documentary. And I'm thinking, did this really happen to me? But maybe this was the worst case. I mean, the worst case would have been death, but maybe I was so close to death that I could not fear people, get fear into them. Because who wants FOMO? Fear of missing out on COVID? Who wants that? So, so maybe I'm just here to be that beacon of hope for someone that, through my story or even through their story. I have people that send me messages every day. Hey, my friend is suffering from insomnia. My brother is in a coma. My dad just died. Like they send me these heartfelt messages, and they're being heard because I've made the position of my time to be available for them to be heard. Because mental health is a serious thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it could hurt somebody seriously if, as sometimes I don't want to be that person, but I was chosen to be that person, is the way I'm thinking it.
Yeah.
So I try to give peace of mind, support, guidance, love, empathy, compassion, and a virtual hug if I can, to give that person hope for that day.
Right. So let me ask you this question, and you don't need to answer if you don't want to.
It's okay.
Um, how do you see death and dying now? And well, let me back up. How did you used to see it prior to this time versus now? I mean, was there a change in your thoughts in it?
Sure, there certainly was. I can tell you that how my pre-COVID life, I was felt invincible like you would when you're a teenager. That you don't have to follow the rules. The rules were meant to be created and broken, and they're not all that. You could do things that are beyond your capability. You just have to want to. And when I passed away, because I go with tomorrow's not promised. It's not promised to anyone, and I know what the other side looks like, and it is pretty. It is pretty. It is oceans, it is fish, it is trees, it is greenery, it's lilac flowers and fields and fields of flowers. They're beautiful people. They're dressed beautifully. They're young. They look like they're in their 30s. There are children. There are moms. There are dads. No one was old looking. They were about 30, 33, 35 years old. Um, I saw clouds, but they look like cotton candy. And there's other people that I spoke to about this afterlife, if they believe in it or if they don't. I'm Hindu. I believe in it, but I thought maybe I'd come back as an eggplant, but now I know I don't want to do that because I've already lived a vegetable life. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not looking to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
um, So, but I do believe that there's an afterlife. I do believe that there's a heaven. I was there, and I swam in oceans for a long time to get there through fish. And I can remember swimming and swimming and swimming, and the fish just shaping your body as you went through. And then I got to the fields, and moms holding their daughters' hands and walking in them. And yeah, so I was there. And so I believe in it. And I saw it. And if anyone has ever passed away, they would know that that is true because they also saw the fields and the oceans and the fish, and they saw it.
So, having that experience, would you say that you fear death?
I don't fear it because I believe that when my purpose is over, um, clearly my purpose wasn't over yet, why I was here, and that's why I'm spared, I guess. But when my purpose is fulfilled, my chore, my task, then I'm ready to go. I do believe that it isn't a bad place up in heaven. It isn't. It's very peaceful, and I feel like once we're fulfilled where we're needed to be. Um, some people say that how like I've seen friends die of cancer and they've died way too young, and they hurt, and they because they're dying from their feet up, and they're leaving young kids. And why do young kids get that? But I don't have answers for all that. I do know though for myself that whatever we're doing here on earth is our chore. That's like our task. And once our task is completed, then we go on to something else. But I don't know what that is. But I do know that there is a heaven because I was there.
So, let's talk about your relationship with your daughter and your husband. How has that changed since pre-COVID?
Well, my daughter's 20. She's in college studying medicine, neuroscience at the University of Colorado Boulder. She's still sassy. Um, but she is loving. She texts me just about every day. She always tells me, "Mom, keep fighting." I know that she's seeing it in the hospital, and I'm thinking that how she probably will use her mom's story. Like, listen, my mom did this, and she's surviving. She's kicking butt. She's badass. And I'm glad that she could use my story to give people hope in the hospital. My husband, he thinks I talk a lot now. I went from not talking to talking. He says I'm pretty demanding. So I feel like our marriage is on track and we're back.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
after 22 years, he's I love him. He's been my rock. He's been supportive. He never pressures me to get healthier. He just wants me to get healthy, but he says he knows I'm going to do it on my time because he knows where I was. I'm very fortunate where there's a lot of people that go home, they're a single parent, they haven't seen their loved ones in the nursing home for over a year. They don't have family or friends. It's hard. It's hard for them to even be able to communicate what they're going through mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. It's taking a toll on a lot of people. But being lonely is even worse than being financially lonely, financially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's tough. But I started COVID Wellness Clinic on Facebook groups to have people to be able to share their stories so they don't feel like they're alone. And hopefully we'll be able to talk about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I didn't know that you sent that information to me. So tell us what that is.
So I thought about starting a support and recovery clinic because once I phase out of hospital care, like nurse care, occupational therapy, physical therapy, voice therapy, vocal pathology, speech, where do I go to from there? My pulmonologist doesn't want to see me for the rest of my life, or I don't want to see him, or my cardiologist. So where do I go to from there? Because COVID isn't a switch that you just turn off and it goes away. Long haulers is a new breed of survivors. We're a new breed of survivors, and we have to have different levels of support and recovery. And the fact that I am a long hauler and know exactly what they're feeling, I thought perhaps I will start a COVID group. So I started COVID Wellness Clinic on Facebook. Excuse me. Physically, mentally, I'm fine. Physically, I don't have the capability to run a brick and mortar business at this time. So I started to file the 501c3 and develop my board member. And so we have 5 or 6 board members now for COVID Wellness, and some are lawyers, doctors, marketing, and infectious disease. So I've got a really nice board to couple COVID Wellness. And our goal is to give them support, recovery guidance for their families, for themselves, and also be able to teach them some of our therapies through wellness. So some of it might include sleep therapy,